Remember that tingling childhood feeling when every summer day seemed endless and the old ravine behind the house hid real monsters and alien worlds? You ran barefoot through the grass, caught fireflies in a jar, and absolutely, unconditionally believed in magic. And then you grew up. You put on a suit, sat in an office, took out a mortgage, and buried your face in a smartphone screen. You learned to be serious and forgot what it's like to fly to Mars just by closing your eyes. We all go through this. We all betray our inner child for the sake of an adult, pragmatic reality. But there was one man who refused to do it. A man who turned his childhood memories, his fears, and his delights into fuel for the rockets that carried millions of readers away. We are used to thinking of science fiction writers as stern prophets, sitting in offices cluttered with blueprints of the future. But Ray Bradbury was different. He was a poor boy from Illinois, whose family didn't even have money for decent clothes during the Great Depression. When he graduated from high school, college was out of the question. And what did Ray do? He went to the library. 3 days a week, for 10 years, he voraciously read everything he could get his hands on. He said, "I didn't go to college. I graduated from the library." While other guys looked for prestigious jobs, Bradbury sold newspapers on street corners for pennies, and, in the evenings, he ran to his typewriter. A completely uncontrollable, almost maniacal passion for writing seethed within him. He wrote every single day since he was 12 years old. He firmly believed that if he missed even one day, his soul would begin to die. He wasn't stopped by rejections from editors or the ridicule of acquaintances. He didn't even have his own office. He wrote his greatest masterpiece, a novel about a grim future where books are forbidden, in the basement of the University of California Library. He rented a typewriter there that operated on coins. 10 cents for half an hour of work. He had a stack of change, a bag of brilliant ideas, and a frantically beating heart. To the clatter of that rented machine, surrounded by millions of unread books, Fahrenheit 451 was born. If you think Bradbury was just a storyteller who predicted flat-screen TVS and wireless headphones, you're missing the most important point. His books were never about technology. They were about you and me. Bradbury wasn't terrified that machines would take over the world. He was afraid that people would voluntarily turn into machines. He watched as Americans in the 50s sat down in front of their first television sets, how they stopped walking in the evenings, stopped talking to each other on the porch, and he became frightened. He saw how screens suck the life out of us, replacing real feelings with a bright, noisy, and utterly empty picture. His Fahrenheit 451 is not a story about an evil government burning books. It is a cry for help. It is a warning that we ourselves voluntarily will stop reading, that we will choose easy entertainment over complex thoughts, that we will trade depth for short headlines, and live communication for endless information noise. And when we look at our world today, where people in a subway car hypnotically scroll through news feeds without even looking at each other, it becomes eerie how accurately this guy with a rented typewriter guessed everything. This is the great paradox of Ray Bradbury. The man who sent humanity to the stars and populated Mars never drove a car in real life and distrusted the internet until the end of his days. He refused to convert his books into electronic format because he believed a book should smell like paper and dust. He remained that same boy with disheveled hair who sincerely believed that love, imagination, and a good story are the only things that can save us from the all-consuming void. And every time we open his book, we get a chance to become alive again, at least for a few minutes. Would you like me to create a list of visual references or a specific color palette to match this atmospheric tone?